Wings of courage, this warrior soars, faltered by nothing, no cares and no pain. The more blood that's spilled, the more strength he gains. Roll the sword upon the enemy, born of the world, the warriors elite. Enemies are coming, war drums drawing near. Berserker enrages and charges no fear. Their hearts are sealed, they're bringing out their kids. They try to defend with hammer, bow, and blade, but the berserkers blood lost, there's no earthly bones. Pillaging and conquering and burning it all down. Burning, raging, fighting, undying, killing, slaying, triumphant, unyielding. The cunning of a wolf, the strength of a bear, dealing out death, the wielder of despair. The legions present with sword and spear in hand. Their corpses will litter this war-torn land. Gaze into his eyes, soulless and cold. The hollow weight steel shatters through bone. Fires are burning, nowhere it's safe. Blood-soaked but unfazed, he charges on. Their hearts are sounding, they're bringing out their gates. They try to defend with hammer, bow, and blade, but the berserkers blood lost, there's no earthly bones. Pillaging and conquering and burning it all down.
Yes, yes. Good evening, everybody. Or whichever individual decides to watch this at any given time, because I doubt there's any sort of audience at this point. Doesn't matter. But I'm going to say what I've got to say anyway. And speaking about entertainment, it's interesting. A lot of who we are, a lot of our identity, a lot of our memories, a lot of our behaviors is dictated by entertainment. Now, if you think about times past, let's say go back and your biggest concern was survival and food. You didn't have a whole lot of time to have internet just went out. I think we're back. Okay. So there are indigenous people that exist out there outside of civilization who their only concern is survival and making sure they've got enough food to eat protecting themselves from predators, sheltering themselves from storms, things like that. And so there really is no entertainment in that sort of environment. And so your behavior is dictated by whatever is best for your survival. But it's not so in our modern Western civilization because, if we get into trouble, we pick up a phone and we call the police. Or, as far as food, we don't butcher animals. Somebody else does that for us. And oftentimes we don't even cook the meat from the animals. Somebody else does that for us too. We go down to McDonald's, fast food restaurant, or a steakhouse or something like that, and the food's all prepared for us. So that saves us a lot of time. And so, because it's saving us so much time, we have time for entertainment, which, it's fun. It helps relieve a lot of stress and pressure, but it also dictates our behavior. And let me explain how. You think about what dictates how you behave in a certain situation. Well, let's go back in time 400 years. There was no television. And so, how you would handle a situation was based on actual experiences that you had interacting with other people. It could be, if you were fortunate enough to be literate, it could come from books that you had read. Or a lot of people were religious back then. They would go to church, and whatever lessons and sermons were delivered at their church would dictate their moral code and their conduct. And then, of course, uh, the actual physical, I've already covered the physical interaction, but either way, so the people's behavior was dictated by real tangible things and real scenarios. Now, the difference is today, a lot of our behaviors and the situations that we call upon in our memories to deal with a situation could be based on something that's completely fabricated, not real at all, not real situations. The fiction that we watch. For example, Star Wars. Star Wars is not real. The Force is not with you. None of that stuff is real. It's all fake. It's all phony. And so um, people would, nowadays draw upon things that are not real. And then you have to think, well, who is the one that is writing that stuff? And for what purpose are they writing it? Are these people writing it to make money, or do they have another agenda? Are they trying to engineer society in a certain direction? If you look at authors like, was it Brave New World? My mind just went blank on who the guy's name is. It's not Bertrand Russell, but either way, it'll come to me. But the guy admits in his fiction, Brave New World, he was writing that because that is the direction that him and other movers and shakers in the world wanted to move society. And they wanted to change the way people perceive the world and behave in the world. And so that's why a lot of these fiction works were created, was for that end and for that purpose. And so it's going to drive me crazy. It's not Bertrand Russell. It's it's not Orson Welles. It's Aldous Huxley. That's it. Aldous Huxter. That's right. So he was one of the, him and his family were deeply involved in the big behind the scenes movers and shakers, the type of people that purchase politicians and put them in office, sit on those big secret meetings, Bilderberg type stuff. I don't think he actually sat on the Bilderberg, but there were similar type meetings which took place that he was most certainly a part of. And these people, they come out and they tell you exactly what their plans are. And they're not really good, not good plans for humanity at all. And so something to be mindful of with entertainment is you have to first understand that, especially in the case of fiction, the stuff is not real. Now, here's the problem. Okay, so let's take Star Trek, for example. I know going into it that Star Trek is not real, but my subconscious mind, on the other hand, does not know. So these fictional, nonsensical scenarios that play out in whatever fiction I happen to be watching, my subconscious eats that up, takes it in, and then when I go out into the physical world, my behavior is altered, at least in some way, in some capacity. And so that's the danger in watching some of this stuff. So I just think I know people need to be aware of that, so that we can better equip ourselves to think for ourselves, be more mindful about what you put in your mind. The propaganda media sources like the CNNs, the MSLSD, or the Fox News, all that stuff. Those are controlled by corporate entities that are owned by some serious no-goodniks like Aldous Huxley that are trying to engineer society, and not for your benefit, but for theirs, at your expense, ultimately. And so they don't want us to. They don't want us coming together. They don't want us getting along. They prefer division, and so a lot of the fiction, it may seem like it's got a good message on the surface, but it's those hidden barbs that's the real problem. The poison is, rat poison. Most of it's not poison. It's something that is maybe good for the rat, but it's just that little tiny bit of strychnine in there that is lethal to the rat. That's all it takes. It's just a little bit of that poison to make it toxic, and so it is with a lot of the entertainment. And so, getting into the World of Warcraft, it's a time sink, and it requires a lot of effort, a lot of research. You want to, build up your character. You want, study how to play it the best, and you can learn all that. But then when the new patch comes out in a couple of months, then you have to relearn it all again because they switch things around. And so now you have to do your research all over again. You have to build it back up all over again, start from scratch. And so now you're the rat on the wheel. And when you're spending all that time in it, what do you have to show for it? Whereas if you'd spent that same amount of time reading important literature, say the Bible, right? You're going to become more enlightened by doing that. Or if you don't want to do that, pick up a musical instrument and play that, get better at it, learn to play new songs. Then all that time you spend on the instrument, you've got something to show for it. Or you can write a brand new song and record it. You have something to show for it. Or if you don't want to play a musical instrument, you can pick up a pen and a pencil and draw. Draw some art, make a comic book, design your own characters. If you quote unquote waste time drawing, well, at least at the end of that time that you spent doing it, you have something to show for it, and you're a better artist. All these great artists, the Dale Keoghs, the Ethan Van Sciver's, Shane Davis, all those guys, the reason they're so good is they didn't start off, they weren't born good. They worked at it bit by bit, and they spent a lot of time. You don't see all the time when, Ethan Van Sciver, for example, when he was not a good artist, when he was a younger man, he had to work his way into becoming a good artist, and it took years, decades of hard work, and maybe a lot of failed drawings and stuff like that before he's the fantastic artist he is today. But he didn't waste his time. He devoted his time doing something he loved, but he's got something to show for it, and now he's making a living doing it. Now, some people can make a living playing World of Warcraft. It does happen, but that's the exception. That's not the rule. And it's just like, basketball or something like that. Everybody wants to be the next NFL star, NBA star. And that's not likely, probably not going to happen with most people. But I will say this, those people that are trying to be the basketball star or the football star, if they're out there actually playing the sport, they're in better physical condition. So they've got something to show for that. So I'll give them points for that. But World of Warcraft, it's it is a huge time sink. So that's, if you're going to play that game, you have to be aware of what it is and be very conscious about how much time you're going to sink into that, and weigh the cost. Time is money, as they say, and that is a legitimate fact. So, but be aware, entertainment. So entertainment comes in the form of movies, TV shows, Netflix, music. Music is entertainment as well. So a lot of music is not designed for your benefit either, especially the corporate stuff. The more obscure stuff, because I played in bands before, and when I was playing in a band, what we did, the song that I played at the intro here, we wrote that to be entertainment. That was our goal. We wanted to write something that we loved playing, that we wanted to hear. If we're going to put on a CD, what do you want to hear? That's what we wrote. And so our motive, and I would even say our motive wasn't even money. We just wanted good heavy metal music, and that's what we composed. But there are devious composers out there that are not so benevolent. They have ulterior motives, just like in the movies, and it's social engineering. So that's something to be aware of. That's why I tend to like a lot of underground music because there's more heart to it, and you're not as likely to have those poison pills embedded into it. So just food for thought there, something to think about. And let's see. I don't see anybody who wants to come on to discuss the matter, so I guess I'll just close this stream out. Anyways, thank you for watching, and if something comes up again that I want to speak about, I will certainly not hesitate to live stream it again. Um, this channel is so small that the format that I would like to do is when people do show up during the actual live stream, I'd like to invite people on to participate and be on the stream. So it's not just a one-man show. It's a lot better, in my opinion, to be able to bounce off other people instead of just sitting here talking to myself. Some people argue, oh, talking to myself is the only way to get intelligent conversation. I don't agree with that. There are people that know way more than I do, and I'd like to speak to them. So either way, take care out there and be mindful.